compromise. I want freedom from my self-awareness to set me free. I want open flowing energy, flowing what's me throughout me. I want wanting to want it just to stay here in the present, unfolding of her story. Her story. Her story. Her story.
There is a part of you at one end, and then another part of you at another end, where your sense of connection, your union, goes all the way from this point of connection all the way, here's the mid-zone, up into the cosmic ocean. And this is something that gives you your great perspective and your ability to understand all of the elements and their relationships to each other. So let's take a look a little deeper here. I want to see into, actually, I'm going to hold this for a moment. Let's see into the specifics here. And so it just makes sense that we pull apart these elements. Okay, so let's do that. First, we are going to connect with your waters. Let's just get right in. When it comes to your waters, I see here, wow, I see here the Ace of Pentacles reversed. It's very interesting. You can even take a look at this with my eyes, and it's as if there's this droplet of water that's coming down with gravity, and these streams are, coming up with the winds. There's this sense that this is dropping out of your own hands, and so it's almost showing me this sense of giving. There's a lot of giving going on, there's a lot of giving, but also holding. And see if you even see it. If you see it from here with my perspective, you're holding back this piece of yourself, this thing that needs water. There's this boundary, and there's this sense of the interconnectedness between this seed of your cherishing of what's important to you and its need to be connected to that which is beyond your ability to hold it back. It's going, and so this related to your element of water, to your emotions and your relationships, also to your sense of fulfillment and spiritual satisfaction. There's something very personal to you that you are possessing and protecting, and letting nature ultimately take its course, allow that which will grow through you to grow through you. And so I'm seeing this in a sense that this has to do with your own sense of self-protection, self-love, and really coming into connection with your boundaries. Boundaries with this elementalist. There's only so much you can do with your two hands. So let's take a look now at air. We're going to go straight from water to air. So we can see there's a lot. Oh, I'm just seeing this right now here for you in the air. It's not so bad, is it? We have the sun here, the sun reversed in your air, and so ultimately I think it's directly related here to your water, but when it comes to your mind and everything you're aware of, with regards to your thinking, your communications, and, everything going on upstairs with you, you really can't deny that it's not so bad. I mean, it is summertime after all, right? But also, the minute that you decide to see the glass half full, because you already have it, you remind yourself that everything is just fine. Really, it's a matter of time, right? So when it comes to this being reversed, there's this sense of, your ability to get what you give, and what you put out, you receive as well. So, maybe there is a little something that you wish you could guard yourself from, right? But yet you're still emotionally in touch with even some of the things that maybe you wouldn't necessarily want the sun to shine upon, shadow work there. But nevertheless, what I'm really seeing is this sense of undeniable optimism. At the end of your night, you're doing just fine, especially mentally. So, even when there is a storm, it's a very beautiful, bodacious storm in your own sky of your mind. I would definitely even say that there's just a lot going on in your mind, and there's so much that you're inspired by and desiring to achieve. And there's this sense that here with this dancer, you have a sense of surrender even to the brilliance of everything that's shining from within you. And you're coming into touch with that in a very natural way. So from here, I want to move into earth. As the air and the water both caress and kiss the earth. Let's take a look at your earth here. Got it in here. Let's see. So it's one of these. Yep, it's this one here. So with earth, wonderful. Let's move these along. All right, so with earth, what I'm seeing here is strength. And I'm really just immediately feeling this sense of pride and feeling very proud for you and of you. You have come such a long ways in your own sense of development and your own sense of strength. So no matter how vulnerable you feel or can feel at any given time, you have such a strong and fierce and independent sense of being. You have really come to understand and master your sense of self, your appreciation, your ability to even live in tandem with your weaknesses, your vulnerabilities, and simultaneously bravely step into speaking your truth, being proud of yourself, taking ownership for who you are as not just one or the other, but both. You really are both. And I'm seeing there's this infinity on her left arm, and so there's this receptivity. So you're really reaching up in your life at this time and embodying this sense of receptivity for your eternal self, which is both power and powerlessness, powerful and powerless. Even there is power in powerlessness. There's this great surrender, right? And so you're really embodied in that. And also, just to note, this is upright, so I'm really seeing there's a sense of true assuredness right now that you are able to grow through any cracks that exist in this world. That it may take some time for you, and when it comes to the earth, but really what's going on in your physical world right now, in your material world with your day-to-day life and your resources, slow but surely you're really nurturing and growing something that can grow up to be big and strong, as long as you don't just eat it, right away. You can just really let something grow and build, and you have this sense of discipline that's showing true. I love that Leo, it's Leo season now, and we're really stepping into that. So just really remembering to honor your truth, that's really what's coming down to your lifestyle here. It's not a time for you to, I guess, even need, argue. There's no time, there's no need to argue anymore. There's this sense of you can just be yourself, rawr. You can just be yourself. So, as one other element here to speak to you a little bit more, I want to step in and take a look at the fire in your life. Your motivation, your drive, your conviction, your desire, and it's down here. There's something in here. Is this it? It's the one underneath that. Yes, here it is. Okay, so let's take a look here. My Elementalist. I have one more for you, so hang on there. We're just gonna hang on there, right? So I have one more here, and this represents the fire that you are orchestrating, that you are working with. All right, Two of Swords. How easy is it? I think that this is very deeply connected to your mind. Obviously, here we have swords, right? And the sun is so fiery, is it not? So here with the Two of Swords, we're dealing with someone who is grappling with making decisions, or rather just there's indecision. There's potentially not even wanting to make a choice, and yet that is a choice, right? So there's this weighing of options and just, being called in multiple directions potentially, and not necessarily wanting to know which way you're going. So, you leave the blindfold on. Here with this in reverse, when it comes to fire, what I'm really sensing is, just even as I'm kind of seeing this and sensing these things, there's this sense, especially here, is just, I would even say it, there's more stubbornness here now with your sense of motivation. There's stubbornness, there's conviction, there's a little bit more of this sense of shaking loose of any other, especially when it comes to mentally, there's shaking loose of any, like I said, with the shadow work and whatnot, there's shaking loose of anything that kind of just pisses you off or turns you off. That's with those emotions that you have here that you're guarding. You can see her hands here. They're not quite, in the same position here, but they're similar. There's this sense here with your mind. There's this natural opening up. You can see how open she is. She's like in the same position here, dancing, and just really envisioning and having this sense of inner vision of how everything is coming into being and working. I want you to also notice, so now that we have all these cards up here, we can really see how these placements are taking place. Notice with the emotions, you've got these two lotuses and these tiny little, we're going to get to that in a minute, but we've got these two major lotuses. And here with fire is I'm seeing a connection between these two black crows. So it's almost as if you have a choice of, between, being your lioness self, your predator, the predator of the pack, the strongest, leader, or you have this ability to just relax with the lambs and, or even just to go unnoticed, to be little, or to be a sheep even, if you want to call it that, but just to be the prey or to be innocent. And yet there's also this sense that there's danger to all of that. There's one of them that is being swept up by the fire, and perhaps it may even get burned. And so there's this sense in your mind of also just needing to release and surrender and let that go. And it's all for the good, because ultimately in your physical life, and we'll bring that back when we look at all of this, we've got these huge mountains. There's two of them in the background. Again, is you can always rely on your intuition to guide you as to when you are to kind of take the route or make a choice in your life as to when right now it's time to kind of embody the softer or the more innocent and the harmless lamb, versus when it's a time to be, this true and unapologetic, or lack of guilt or any kind of shame, to being this creature that can tear apart and demolish something as innocent and beautiful as the lotus you see with the fire. Now, likewise, here we see these water, and it's hard to tell here because we have the sun here and we have the Ace of Pentacles, which is beautiful that we're seeing these come up here, but you see these big spirals going into the sky. It's as if they're coming from the water itself. And so, like I said, there's this sense that you possess the very thing that is going to actually bring you, emotional fulfillment or whatnot. It's like as if it's growing through your own personal boundaries, your own sense of pride and self-love, so you will it, so it will grow through you with your boundaries intact. And I hope this really makes sense now, as there's a sense of you don't have to open up let me show you, you don't have to just open yourself up wide per se. You can actually trust that with your boundaries completely intact, let me bring my little coffee back up in front of you. This liquid will get through and trickle through the natural cracks where it belongs, where God wills it, where your spirit wills it, where nature will take its course. What I'm also seeing is that part of this magnificence and this sunshine and this optimism, this freedom and this strength that's really showing up for you right now, is that it's calling it up from the waters, and it's merging with the air here. And so with that, and I'm just wrapping this kind of up with the fire, is that your fire has really come in, but it looks as if it's taking something from your emotional life and it's going to consume it, and somehow at the same time it's also coming in and kind of like kissing and licking and giving some fear and fuel to these little earth. Do you see these little sprouts? So these little sprouts are part of the earth element here, as well as the mountain. But these little sprouts are also it's like you could call that the innocence. And so there's this sense of you're, finding in your body, do you see these little like sands and time of like holding on to sand or whatever, these tiny little strings, like she's really not controlled, other than by her own mind. And so to me, with this being reversed, I just want to kind of pull this together and let you know there's this sense that these little sprouts are so small, and just like the sand, they're so small, just like the water, that even though these big flames are quite large, and like I said, that even the thoughts in your mind that drive you, that are coming from your truth, from your purpose, from your decisions, from your will to live every day, even though that's quite large in proportion here, these little sprouts are actually spreading, and they're going to go where they need to, and they're going to take root, which I'm very excited to see. So with a way to kind of complete this reading for you, what I want to do is bring in the fifth element for you. Of course, Elemist, I want to bring in the fifth element, spirit, your spirituality. And I want to perhaps even ask to see this spirit in the way that it is leading you, guiding you. Perhaps we'll just go ahead and say this is the spirit of your Elementalist. This is your spirit and the path you are in right now. I found it right here. All right, so let's enjoy this conclusion together. Wow. Does that not look very much the same? Immediately what I'm getting for you right now, my dear one, is that you are exactly where you're supposed to be. You are at the shore. You are in a transitional time. The very places and things and the world or the way that you have used to live in and where you are coming from is transitioning completely. You know, when you think of, imagine you've lived your whole life. You were born on a ship. You were born in the ocean. All you know is how to live on a boat. All you know is that when there's a leak, the water comes in and you have to immediately respond so that it doesn't flood. Imagine growing up on a boat and so you also learn to swim in the sea. Imagine your body. Okay, now I want you to understand that you've lived your life, you've learned everything, all of your training has gone into living in this identity that's on the sea, and there's also this tragedy. You know, there's this tragedy that's come in, that's coming in, but it's not even that this tragedy has caused anything. It's just simultaneously arriving at the same time that these ocean waves are reaching the shore of something entirely different. Now, I don't even mean the shore of land, okay? So this is to be clear. The analogy is to consider this land, because then you can compare and contrast and then understand the difference that you're going to experience when you transition from being an elementalist who stands in the water, comes from the water, a master ship at sea, but then to come into this new territory with new materials, new elements, perhaps new arrangements of the same elements, but new arrangements. I think that when I see these fire bolts, I just want to bring your attention back to the Two of Swords here, because this did come up in your fire position, and this is what's driving you, but also there's the sense that these things are representative of your own spirit lighting up your path, hailing down from the sky undeniably. You can even imagine this as the inside of your body if you've been pretty focused in your own mind and you think to yourself, right? Because you think to yourself, I know exactly what's going on, and that's great. You're also fully prepared here. But there's this almost notion that what if everything you thought was fine for then, but now all new thoughts will need to be thunken, right? New thinkings, new arrangements. Let's bring this like this. In order to make sense of where you're really going. And so I want to give you a reminder to appreciate amidst everything, right? Amidst everything, but also with strength. You know, you've got the sun and strength, beautiful combination here. To really appreciate who you are. To really wear your heart right out in front of you. To be in touch with time. So she has like almost like maybe a watch band. To allow yourself to make your own decisions and not even follow one or the other of these crows. In fact, At this point, this is the final message for you. This is the juncture where you do not have to follow the rules of the ocean any longer, nor do you have to follow whatever rules you think come from this, cosmos. Now there's really this opportunity to deepen in and sink in. That's here with your mind. You're turning into your own source, your own light, your own star, your own solar plexus, yourself, your truth. Really holding in and anchoring into your own. See these connections here? Your heart. She shut her eyes. This is really about you turning into your natural elementalist inside and trusting yourself enough to create your own personal manual for your life through these times of your great transition. Maybe it's happening right now and it's quite strong and obvious. Maybe this is just one slow unfolding for you. In either way, here you are.